There's some people in here.
There are a few people in here.
All this to talk about a foot fetish. Who's in the feet?
And that's all I know about this guy.
Jerry,
I'm here to learn.
That's all I know about that.
That's all I know about that. Man, I'll tell you what, man. I'll tell you later.
Oh, we lost somebody.
Oh, they'll come back in.
No, they're just gonna jump over to a different one. So hello, Susan. Hello. Hello, Druantia.
How did she get in here?
I have no damn clue. I don't know how either of these bitches got in here.
Oh, hello. I am Druantia.
Hello, everyone. What is this one about? This is about foot fetishes and necrophilia.
And that's why my camera is not on.
Peanut butter jelly.
Peanut butter. It's peanut butter jelly time. Peanut butter jelly time.
Thank you.
Just let me smell your feet.
Oh.
I used to have a shirt that said necrophilia. What was it? Necrophilia and cannibalism. The other white meat.
The other white meat.
I don't remember where I got that shirt from, but it was awesome.
Some of the best, some of
Wait.
the best songs ever are songs about necrophilia.
I can't.
It's your mother sucks ding dongs in hell. This
It's
is why we were
short.
doing this in the back. In the
Your mother sucks ding dongs in hell.
Your mother sucks ding dongs in hell.
Yeah, the voice. You had to do the voice, man.
Oh wait.
Constance? Oh, you
Let
Let me do it. Let's see if I can do it.
Your mother sucks ding dongs in hell. Wait. Wrong one. There. Wow, it's really loud. Why do I sound like Carl? Oh my God.
You sound like
Wow,
the Crimson Meerkat.
I think I
Yes,
sounded like
you
the Crimson
do.
Meerkat for a second.
I work with that guy every day. You sound just like him.
Hey, Constance.
Hey, Constance.
Hey.
Ugh.
Hey, Ivar. Hello.
Hello,
you're fine.
Ivar.
Guys, please share out.
Hello.
Like, follow, share, smash that bell, do all that awesome stuff.
Check our
You can
YouTube
do
out.
it.
You can do it.
Also, check out Spooky Tales with Steve the Cat,
Yeah.
which is absolutely nothing like what we're talking about tonight. So,
Why do I feel like you're gonna get a cease and desist letter from Hostess for the ding dong?
yeah.
We kidnapped Carl.
So tonight we are sponsored by my new punk rock haircut and Samuel Smith's
Imperial Oatmeal Stout.
Imperial Stout.
I found this from
I'm not a true punk walk.
I found this today from a
punk
Stone
rocker anymore.
Brewery Company, which is down in San Diego. It is they put it out right after the Ukrainian invasion or the Russian invasion of Ukraine, and it's they changed from a Russian Imperial Stout. It's a totalitarian espresso Imperial Russian Stout. I fucking love it.
Nice.
While
so
y'all are over there drinking, I'm going to be summoning demons.
I
I'm
saw
so
that.
stoked.
man.
Hey,
That's
where is
awesome.
that
See
dude?
that?
That is
Where Mark
rad.
got me?
Do you want to
Oh my gosh.
share to Mark
That's amazing.
Limbo?
I don't have.
You have him.
Oh, I do have him on my page. That's right.
Mark.
No, not that one.
Oh, well, I don't know.
I
can't do it.
You gotta do. You can do it from my Facebook
phone
page is
died.
up right now.
So, guys, no, it is not.
Yes, it is.
Oh, hey.
There you go.
Woo woo. Let's tag people, guys.
Get in here and
So,
watch
in
our
case
show.
you didn't know, sometimes we decide
Tag your
to
it.
do random shit and tag people. So, there's our secret. Mark.
That's how we get people to watch
Who's
our
Mark
shows.
Florentine?
Because we suck.
Yeah, doesn't matter. He's getting an invite.
You're coming in here.
Mark, hey, Mark Florentino, you are invited. Mark Limbo.
I see my buddy Scott in here. Hey, Scott.
Scott,
Hey,
what's going on?
Scott. Mom said no summoning demons. We have too many.
Oops.
Sorry.
I mean, one more can't possibly hurt at this point.
I have a
That's true.
demon inside of me. It's true. He has
Demon inside of him.
It's so good.
I amused myself.
All right.
That was too good. Okay.
You control the StreamYard. I control the sound. Don't take my job from me.
So tonight.
I'm kidding.
Oh, I'm
Jerry
sorry.
Brudos.
I said his name wrong. Fiorentino. I tagged Mark Fiorentino.
Oh,
So Mark,
gotcha.
if you come in, hello. I'm sorry, I had to. Mark Limbo, get your butt in here.
We're playing Tag You're It. Everybody in the chats tag one person.
You know what? For the record, I've been getting a lot of messages asking if I was okay. Hey, Darius.
Hey,
How
Darius.
are you? By the way, I get to chit chat with Zach Sanity. If you guys don't know this, it's going to be on a Tuesday instead of a Wednesday, just because it was a little bit more convenient. But this is going to be a fun one.
It's one of my favorite songs. Tuesday's Gone. Tuesday's Gone.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
Leonard Skinner. I can't think of it.
With the
Yes,
wind?
Tuesday's Gone. Yeah, there you go. One of my favorite songs, and I don't know it.
so I squirreled. Where was I?
We're tagging people. We're playing tag. with the-
Before people have been messaging me all day. Are you okay? Is there something wrong? Do you need to talk?
So-
For the record, guys, we were just going back and forth with songs. And it
Yes.
seems that most of the songs I post are fucked up.
Yeah. Well, didn't I?
Yes, Ivar was one of them.
Everything I posted was from the 90s, I'm pretty sure. Like every single song that I.
You
Oh my
did the
goodness.
song that was called Wallflower. I responded
Yes.
with a song from the Wallflower.
I was trying to match like a word or a tone or like a lyric
were-
or something with my next one, and
We were laying in bed, and we're
I got two
like,
in my
we're like, there's nothing bad you can say about the Wallflowers other than I'm not exactly into them, but they're not bad musicians. I mean,
And when
Bob
they came on
Dylan's
the
son did a
radio,
good
you wouldn't
job.
turn 'em off.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
they're not bad, except for they were in Godzilla 1997. But I mean,
I forgive them for that. Honestly, like they didn't know. They heard Godzilla, they got excited, they did it, and they saw the movie, and they're like, "Oh, this."
I
is
hate to
what
bring it
you
up
did.
to you guys. It's one of my favorite Godzilla movies.
We are, by the way.
I'm
so
so
since
sorry.
we're talking about Goji, guys, we are going to be doing an awesome chat about Godzilla
Oh,
because there's a lot of us in here that really like Godzilla.
Mhm.
Gojira. And
Gojira.
so, yeah.
I loved in the legendary.
Should start recording. That's kind of what we're doing.
I loved in the legendary version or the legendary Godzilla series, the MonsterVerse. How they basically like Ken Watanabe was like, "No, I'm Japanese. I'm going to pronounce it Gojira, no matter
Yeah.
what." That's exactly what
Right.
he did, and it fucking worked. I love Ken Watanabe. He's so
I
cool.
like him.
Last Samurai was such a great movie.
Yeah, it was. It was.
So-
And these are the fun facts you can look forward to the Godzilla episode, including the official reveal on how Jason Voorhees is, in fact, related to the universe.
Yes.
Wait,
This
say it
comes,
again?
yeah, it's weird because there's a connection with, sort of a weird connection with Jason Voorhees through Adam Marcus, who directed Part 9 with Godzilla, and it's really funny. I'll tell you guys about it.
Oh,
And you'll get a kick out of it, I promise.
oh, Adam Winger.
Oh.
I know you're talking about. Yeah.
For the record, all Godzilla.
Oh,
All.
I will defend Godzilla 1997 to
Dude,
the
he will
death.
defend the ones I hate.
There's a reason for it. Okay, if you take the
We're
name of
supposed
what
to be talking about
I know,
serial killers that talk
but if
about
you
shit
take-
like shoes and
okay, so-
necrophilia.
if you take the Godzilla name away, which is what Toho did, he in GM. It's actually a prequel to Godzilla Mothra King Ghidorah All
There we
Out
go.
Attack.
Discord just happened.
Toho was like, no, the Americans were confused. That wasn't Godzilla. And when
It was just a Zilla.
no, it was Zilla. That's his name.
Zilla, that's his name.
Zilla.
And that's that's how Toho incorporated it. And if they would have just called it Zilla, everyone would have loved the movie. Because it's a
Probably,
fun movie.
There's a lot of movies I feel that way about. Like, had they like the title not been what it was, or like a mask didn't get used, or something, like I would have liked. And I know everybody goes down that Rob Zombie a Halloween rabbit hole, but if those movies weren't called Halloween and it wasn't Michael Myers and it was some different new slasher, I would have probably absolutely loved those movies.
Oh,
But-
I agree. I agree entirely.
Yeah.
But my big problem with Rob Zombie's Halloween is the fact that he called it Halloween.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Entirely it for me. Yeah.
You know, my big problem with it wasn't the first one. The first one was cool to watch. The second one was weird.
Yeah.
That's
the
my
white horse thing got a little out
yeah.
of
It's
control
the
and-
mental connection where they really went into this whole mystic avenue with it that actually doesn't exist. You know, and it was weird.
They tried to force it to exist in part 6 though, with the director's or the producer's cut or whatever it was with the rune stones and all that. But
the moon beam or something like that, like where he would appear in the moon or something like that, or the light of the moon,
and the thorn symbol and the cult. Yeah.
Okay. All right. We gotta get.
I've been over on Hexus's page tagging a million people while you guys are talking.
We're just filling time, man.
Children of cool.
Children of the Corn. No, okay, no, we gotta do Jerry Brudos. This is what we're doing here.
All right, so for the record, I got most of the information from allthat'sinteresting.com. We had a little bit more information from like Murderpedia and Wikipedia and all that kind of stuff.
Gotta put the thing up.
But yeah, also give me one moment. Hey Calvin, I am so sorry she has a migraine. I get those too. I really hope that she got some like Maxalt or something that really helps. Amitrex always helped me, but made my fingers tingly, and apparently that's a bad symptom.
You want to put the warnings up real fast?
So
hey, Calvin, sorry.
Let's do this really fast. Couple things.
Under the fair use, under the fair use, another author may make limited use of the original author's work without asking permission pursuant to 17 U.S. Code 107. Certain uses of copyrighted material for purposes such as criticisms, comment, news, reporting, teaching, including multiple copies for classroom use, scholarship, or research is not an infringement of copyright.
What he said.
Yep.
Yeah, sure. Trigger warnings, guys, because we are going to be talking about. Let me put that record.
Sorry.
We are going to be talking about necrophilia.
There is.
There's going to be a lot of.
Well, there's 4 cases of necrophilia
triggering
in this.
things. Yeah, that's 4 murders and 4 cases. Also, warning: the related content may be disturbing to some individuals, so viewer discretion is advised.
Don't do what Jerry Brudos did.
Also,
just
don't try this at home. Is that what you were gonna say?
don't abduct.
Try this at home, guys.
Look, guys.
And if you do, don't tell anybody. I mean,
leave your mother's high heels in the closet where they belong, and don't.
I almost.
I've got to say, when I did read up a little bit on this guy, the first part of it, until he started killing people, was kind of comical.
It is.
I almost brought out my my Frankenfurter heels just for this.
Well, this is I'm honestly, because I rep them all the time because I listen to last podcast and last all the time, that they brought up a good point in there that this is basically the first part of his life is basically Porky's, and it actually shows how if you take the happy soundtrack away from Porky's, it's fucked up.
Really, right down to the holy drill.
My mom don't have high heels.
That's what thrift stores are for.
I got some like those really popular ones that had like the wood heels. They were the boots. They were really popular for a while. They were the leather with the nice toes that were. Yeah. I know why they were at the thrift store. Because they kept turning in my ankle.
Oh.
But they were like $50 shoes, and I was so stoked to get them.
They weren't there because some serial killer gave them back because they're like, it's not my type. I don't want them.
That is very possible. All right, let's get started. In the late 60s, Jerome Henry Brudos, known as Jerry, killed at least 4 women in Oregon and used their corpses for his necrophilic fantasies.
He was very much about
I burped, I'm sorry.
The taking the body. Where Dahmer was he hated the kills. Brudos loved to kill. Dahmer hated killing. He I know I always bring Dahmer up because he's tragic. Very tragic for every time you think about it, because he would have got on the right meds, there's a chance Dahmer would have just been a weird guy working at a chocolate factory still to this day. you know,
It'd be Jeffrey and the chocolate.
But you're right. That was an awful position to be in, to know what you were doing, but at the same time not be able to stop. That would be nightmarish.
yeah. But Brudos was the opposite. He literally didn't. He had the same upbringing as Kemper. He had a very domineering mother who tore him down constantly because they wanted a daughter. They didn't want a son. He was an accident. They wanted a daughter. So in his early, this is we're gonna get into this whole shoe fetish part, and it all comes from his mother. And then he's exactly what escalation is. If you look at like how he started off very small, going up the scale, and it was all directly related to his mother.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I have a response here because all I could think of was Avenged Sevenfold. Because I kind of always knew that my little crime would be cold. That's why I got a heater for your thighs.
And speaking of copyright infringements,
and I know it's not your time. But bye.
Okay, we can't squirrel out right now. We got to get going here. I'm about to go off on this.
Back on the record, Jerry Brudos was a very naughty man.
I'm sorry. That was back, Raz.
So he became obsessed with women's shoes when he was only 5 years old. The year was 1944. He happened to notice a pair of stilettos in a junkyard, and he was really intrigued. So he grabbed them and he brought them home, and his mother was pretty pissed. Okay. So his mom saw him in these shoes, became super enraged, and screamed that he had better take them back to the dump. He tried to hide the shoes from her, but she found them and burned them.
But this is one thing.
Don't all 5-year-olds walk around in big shoes?
Exactly. In mommy's shoes.
He started
usually not from the dump.
Something clicked in his head as a kid at that age when he found them, because there were rhinestones and everything like that. Hey, Ashley,
I love you.
They were rhinestone encrusted. This is such a gross way to describe what this man did to this shoes.
Just wearing my
rhinestone cowboy.
He was a rhinestone riding these shoes cowboy. He
was a rhinestone Frankenfurter.
He started describing that he had a funny feeling even from that age whenever he got these stuff, because he liked the way it felt. So when he brought it home and he thought he was being funny to his mom wearing them, and his mom punished him immediately, that instilled a very bad taboo with these shoes and with stuff like this, which just started going off into the wrong direction of saying, no, that's funny, just put it away. I know you found this, opposed to get it out of here now or I'm going to beat your ass, you know.
Oh, and I just
so if he'd found Crocs, maybe none of this would have ever happened.
I think so.
Had Crocs existed, then yes.
Carl, I have to apologize ahead of time. I still haven't added in that your part of the ad and Slippies because I totally forgot today because I was swimming a lot.
Yeah, that's why I'm here. So I'm not forgotten entirely.
Carl took over so he could make sure we play the ad.
You allowed Steve to talk smack about me last week.
I really need to add it in there, but I keep forgetting where it is. So I'm sorry. And I figured I'd say it ahead of time because I just realized that when I saw Lori come in and I thought about the Grime Asylum.
Odd Mom, I was like, I did my part. I made the ad. Now these two haven't played the ad.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry.
So I'm having an issue.
So sorry.
We've already got 6 episodes in the can for this upcoming season, and the ads are in all of them.
I don't know which one it is, though. I can't tell. They're not labeled.
We'll just play them randomly later.
You know what? Go back in my Google Drive. It should still be in there because I think I moved them in there rather than copied them in there.
Is the orange one his?
Well, you have the really super long one, or you have them broken up into 3s. Whichever way you want to do it.
Okay.
Don't mind us, folks. We're just sorting out some advertising here.
Sorry.
Technically,
I have some questions about this origin story. I have questions about this because, like, right at the red, it feels like a magical children's story about this child that just wanders through, a junkyard and finds these magical shoes that's going to transform their life. And I can't help but feel like this is exactly what would have happened to Dorothy Gale had she not found the slippers.
Yeah.
Or been told to take the slippers back to the junkyard. You know, like
there's no place like home.
Can we make a return to Oz and just go even darker?
There's no place like home. Oh, there's no place like home. Oh.
When you go home, there's like a shot of like bodies laying there, and
basically, God.
Wasn't B4K from Kansas?
Is that what?
But it wouldn't be Munchkin Land. It'd be like Corpse Land or something.
Yeah.
Corpse Land.
Yeah.
Corpse Land.
Wait.
And we wish you could stay at Munchkin Land.
You got to do the deep one real fast.
But do Corpse Land.
Represent the Lollipop Guild.
Okay.
So from that day forward, something actually shifted in his brain. He never looked at women's shoes the same again. Despite his mother's obvious disapproval, he began to steal shoes in secret, and he created his own personal collection of shoes, predominantly high heel stilettos.
Even we're gonna get into it here in a second. Like even at a very young age, he, like I said,
like 5'6",
and right here in 5'6", and then around like age 7 or 8. We're gonna see something here. He starts to sneak into people's places while they're asleep to try to steal their shoes off of them.
Can I just ask why there was a 5-year-old running around the dump?
Look, I mean, I don't disagree with this because I was a 5-year-old running around the dump too.
Okay, you know what? I can't say much. My dad used to be a security guard at this place, and I was like 3 or 4, and I think it may have been a dump. I don't know, but I do remember hanging out with this other another security guard's kid, and we used to like climb towers that we shouldn't be climbing. And
he was really bashful. He got really weird when he looked at my shoes all the time. I don't know what was going on.
No, his name. Wait, okay, I'm sorry. So the guy's name was Arturo, and his son's name was Arturo, but I called him Little Arturo, but I
definitely serial killer.
Actually, I ended up calling him Our Little Turo.
It's all Our Little Turo, the 9th I-5 killer or something.
Right.
Ivar says, back in those times, it was kind of a thing.
It was though, because we're talking 1940s. We're talking, World War II. Like you were lucky if you were a kid that was paid attention by your parents to live past like being 8 or 9 years old. Like. Yeah. Orphanages were all the rage. You just dump kids off.
Were all the rage.
They were.
They were during the Depression. People would give their children away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they just did.
That was crazy.
Everybody.
Orphanages were all the rage.
Yeah, everybody was doing it back then.
It's even cool. Getting.
It's the cool thing.
Maybe she sent him to the dump on purpose.
Maybe
you weren't a cool kid unless you ended up in a dump or an orphanage.
This motherfucker brought back shoes and he was supposed to stay at the dump.
Yeah. And they were magic and everything. I mean, come on.
Click, click.
They had rhinestones on them and they were encrusted.
Yeah.
So as
why
as
do
he
I
grew
want to
older,
see Benny and the Jets?
Benny and the Jets.
Shouldn't that be like Brudos and the Jets at this point?
Oh. Tell me that's not a great
Joyce.
Progressive death metal band name
It
right there.
It is.
Joyce, hell, I used to follow the mailman on his route instead of going to school in the late 70s, early 80s. Joyce, you're awesome. That's Ivar's mom.
Mailbags are magic too, man. You don't know what
junkyards were for secondhand free goods, especially if you were poor.
This is true.
Yeah.
This is true.
I'm not gonna lie, there's a few things that I have grabbed at a junkyard that was like
even
awesome.
The last time we went to a junkyard was I went to a junkyard. We helped cleaned out my sister's apartment a few weeks ago.
I was gonna say when we throw out all your ex's shit.
No, she's watching right now. You know that.
You threw my stuff away.
No, we went to my mom and me went to the dump and we're throwing a whole bunch of stuff away. And dude, there were these brand new like guys in their brand new Chevys, like just throwing away like all this new stuff, brand new stuff. And the way like California or Kern County here has their dump, the way it's set up there, you can't even look at that stuff. They'll escort you out now. Whereas before, like back in the 80s and prior, you can just go over there and look through it and take it.
So Joyce says right up until Rima Traxler. So just to fill you guys in, Rima Dennett Traxler was a 3rd grade student at St. Helens Elementary School. She loved school, especially like art class, all that kind of stuff. And on the afternoon of May 15th, 1985, she was walking home from school when she stopped to proudly show a neighbor an art project that she made, continued walking 2 blocks towards her family's residence, but never made it home.
Oh, wow.
They have never found her body. And they've even done like age progressions into her like 30s in like 2010.
Oh, wow.
Wasn't that the, what's his name? Like Joe or Joseph Condro or something like that was the guy's name that was involved with that?
Yes. The Longview, Washington serial killer.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the one Ivar was telling us to cover.
No, it's not.
Oh, no. That one from the 1912.
That one was
the 1912s.
We're going to be doing that. By the way, Ivar.
The roaring 1912s, guys.
Yes, the roaring 1912s. So
a year before the Charleston was created, they had the not Charleston.
Exactly. It was all done in reverse back then.
They went to the right, not the left.
Yes.
So always to the right, never to the left. So as Jerry Brudos grew older, his obsession would become darker. So what once was merely just a little bit creepy would soon become deadly. So by the 60s, he had murdered 4 women in Oregon, mutilated their corpses in horrific ways, and in perhaps his most horrific act, he chopped one woman's foot off and kept it in the freezer.
That is the first kill.
Using it as a model for his collection of stolen high heel shoes.
We'll get into it. He wanted that person's shoes, and I think there was something that happened where he lost them or something like that, and like so he just took her foot.
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So this story, we're gonna call him the Shoe Fetish Slayer, as they're saying in allthat'sinteresting.com.
Yeah, I didn't go with the Shoe Fetish Slayer on this one. I was like, the Shoe Fetish Killer or whatever, because one, the Shoe Fetish Slayer is also a macabre song, which they fucking rule.
Angie, what's up?
I'm looking at this guy's picture like a lot right now, and I'm kind of weirded out because if you were to put my picture right next to him, because I just shaved my head and like my glasses are just a little bit thicker, and I was about 30 years older, I think I would look like this guy, and it's kind of tripping me out a little bit, man.
He has too long of a nose.
Yeah, no, it's almost there.
So Raz, can I interest you in a pair of shoes?
I mean, possibly. Ask me in 30 years when the resemblance is closer, and I'll probably say yes.
If the shoes didn't fit, kill him.
I need something to look forward to. Yeah.
It's the Tree Huger Bomber.
Tree Huger Bomber. It was Hugger. Nope, Huger.
Nope.
So, to get into this a little bit deeper, Jerome Henry Brudos was born on January 31st, 1939 in Webster, South Dakota. He was the second son of Henry and Eileen Brudos.
He was the second son of a second son of a second son, which will produce a serial killer.
Initially, his mother hadn't wanted. Initially, his mom didn't want another kid, but she accepted her fate and hoped for a daughter.
Back in the 40s, or 39, you have no choice but to accept your fate when you get pregnant.
Yeah, because it could just as likely lead to your death as it does actually having the kids.
Yes.
Hey, Ravage, what's up,
Ravage.
man?
Hey, man.
What's up? Ivar, sorry, said bad day at work.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ivar. Ivar was telling we were talking about his work day earlier, and then yeah, it was not nice.
I've heard about guys having a shoe fetish. Yeah, this is a little extreme.
Well, okay, again, let's the whole fetish idea of shoe fetish, foot fetish, and stuff like that. 99% of the time, it's not bad. It's just someone's into it. They don't abduct the woman or man. They don't murder them. They leave them alone. Everything's consensual. This is not consensual. What we're talking about here.
Sorry,
few people consent to having their foot sawed off.
Yeah.
Unless you're Carrie Elwes.
Carrie Elwes.
He did it himself and saw.
I love Carrie Elwes in general. He's just awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, as you wish. What isn't there a pheromone in the woman's foot sweat that men are attracted to? I am not sure.
I will find that out later tonight.
Do you want to sniff my foot?
Later on.
I can actually answer this for weird reasons because I researched things before I read about them. And yes, in fact, there is a different type of pheromone in your foot sweat for men and women, actually. And for some reason, some people are genetically disposed to find that specific pheromone attractive, which is why in a lot of cases, that footage is actually considered to be one of the most understandable and widely accepted of all the fetishes because of it.
No.
Crazy.
Wow, I did not know that.
Yeah,
I wasn't aware of that. I just know that I have a massive distaste for feet.
There's a lot of domination when it comes to the foot, like especially someone being, stepped on or whatnot. It's all this stuff I've watched on crazyshit.com. Steak and cheese.
It's considered to be the third safest profession in the world to get into foot modeling, actually, as a result of that. And third safest and one of the most lucrative.
I have tiny feet. I should be a foot model.
There's someone out there, like.
God damn it. Instead of having a daughter, she had another son. And she was obviously disappointed. And it did translate into open hostility towards him.
She was very obviously disappointed. I'm sorry.
Yeah. She was domineering and very critical of him, but warm and approving of his older brother Larry.
Yeah, this is another thing too. Like he falls into this category of serial killers where they basically they loved the first son or the first sibling, and the second sibling they treated like shit. Like there's a few of them out there like that.
Or the opposite. I've seen the opposite too.
Fungus pedicist.
Susan S. Wish. Well, you have.
Oh, he's doing his voodoo again.
His hoodoo voodoo.
Hey, again, I just love the Etrigan picture. It makes me happy. And hello, Scott. Sorry, I have to burp.
We also have to read.
You both at once.
Trying not to burp into the microphone. Unless...
just burp the alphabet. That's
sorry. Every now and then I do vomit on camera.
It's like The Exorcist. That's why I wear the shirt.
That's just making the show more festive, is all.
So.
Make me spit my beer out. Ruin my mic and everything. My awesome mic.
So. When Jerry brought home the high heels from the junkyard, she told Jerry that he was wicked for liking shoes. Her reaction triggered something in him.
A boner.
He quickly developed. Yes.
That's what it really did.
An obsession for women's footwear.
Such a dirty boy. Get those shoes out of here. You're such a dirty boy.
You're saying words like wicked, and that's just taking me right back to my Wizard of Oz theory here, man. Like,
wait, do what in the helium voice? Wait, what do I need to do in the helium voice?
Oh, I don't know.
Explain, please.
Maybe do the entire show in a helium voice.
Sorry. When Jerry brought high heels home. Oh, I got it. Wait. You're such a dirty boy. Oh, God. He's so dirty and naughty. What is wrong with you? You and your boner right there. Just sitting there. Take those shoes home.
I mean, back to the... Yeah, you're right. Oh, God, dude. I gotta wash this mic now.
Oh, shit. Okay.
And scene.
And we are all
Don't we need to do an ad right about now anyway?
We're gonna go to a commercial, and I am really sorry.
We're not even a paragraph in.
I'm really sorry.
I'm
Go on.
Really sorry.
Find Stephen Pediat's commercial.
I can't find it. I don't know which one it is. I'm sorry.
Mother de la Mort, I'm going to be filing a formal complaint.
I don't want to be written up. We got to find the right one.
I'll be right back.
Well, gentlemen, perhaps we wouldn't be where we are today if we hadn't said to ourselves, just go, 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 go for it.
This final score for this film, we're going to give it 3 paws out of 4.
Nuestra Señora de la Santa Muerte, Spanish for Our Lady of the Holy Death.
Out now!
Oh, not sex and violence!
Hi everybody, I'm Aka,
And I'm Free Sexist Diamond.
and we are Roots Bleed Red on Psycho Bunny Death Cult.
Aha!
In fact, humans have a very long history of eating each other.
So lock your doors, turn out your lights, and join us for Cool Radio.
This is Professor Edgar Fluffosaurus from Spooky Tales with Steve the Cat, and when I'm not hosting Monster Chat or knocking down small Japanese cities, I'm watching PBDC TV. Now back to the show.
I want that atomic puppet for myself.
Ah!
Oh, we lost out Mama. She'll be back in a
That
second.
Divasaurus, man.
I want that. I
was gonna try something because I'm afraid.
Oh, do it.
I'm gonna try it.
Here we go.
Let's
see.
see.
Here.
Well, we already saw the rest of that.
Count it.
Yay!
I figured out which one it was.
Thank you, Aka.
Hey, Shelby.
Well, I was going to suggest if we couldn't find it to put a ticker down there with his web address. Because it is Steven, SteveTheCat.com.
It's spookytaleswithstevethecat.com.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, by the way, hi sis, how are you?
Hello.
Shelby's awesome,
Hey,
guys.
Mikey.
Mikey.
What's up? Nice and nice. Awesome.
Rope? What?
Yes, I know.
You were rope? What were you doing? You left us out? I'm kidding. I'm kidding,
right?
Mikey. I'm kidding.
Okay, so let's get back into this. And I'm gonna
Choose.
try not to laugh my ass off. I won't do it in chipmunk voices this time.
Throw the whole time like this.
So when Jerry brought High Heels home from the junkyard,
Did he
she
nickname
told
him?
he was wicked for liking shoes, and her reaction triggered something. Boing. And he developed this obsession with women's footwear. So in the following
And
years,
a couple other things in a little
he
bit
tested
too.
the boundaries of his new fixation. In first grade, he stole a teacher's high heels from her desk. And when he was a teenager, or when a teenager girl visited his home, he attempted to steal her shoes as well.
Can we stop here real fast? So this teacher actually, everything I read, everything I was listening to this entire week on Jerry Brudos, this teacher actually did the right thing. When he stole the shoes, she just thought it was weird and was like, whatever, go just put them back. She didn't call him a dirty boy. She didn't treat it like a
dirty boy.
She didn't treat it like a dirty boy. She didn't treat it like a bad taboo or anything like that. She was like, okay, he's just a little kid being curious, which is how his mother should have treated this. And 4 women today might be still alive, or well, I mean,
maybe.
they might have died of natural causes opposed to being strangled to death and shit.
Their lives may have turned out differently.
Yes.
Yes, exactly. So, the teen was a family friend. She felt comfortable laying down on Jerry's bed to take a nap. And when she woke, actually, she didn't wake up just like randomly. She woke up because he was trying to pull her shoes off. And
could you imagine?
Yeah.
Wait.
What the fuck are you
This
doing?
little kid is pulling my shoes and he's pulling one off at the same time. What is going on here? Sorry.
So, as he matured,
he matured right there in that moment.
Wait. I have to say this. Hold on. I'm putting this in quotations because it is in quotations. As he matured, wrote Eric Hickey in Serial Murders and Their Victims, his shoe fetish increasingly provided sexual arousal.
It provided a funny feeling for a kid who didn't understand sex at the time. It very much did. And he was like, I don't know what's going on here. I just want to keep looking at these things. And why do I have to hide my pants right now?
Basically.
Happy!
Sex education didn't exist back then for anybody, let alone kids.
Not one bit.
Why do people feel like doing the ring toss right now?
If you could do a ring toss with this kid, it was like, oh my God.
So, as he added to his stolen shoe collection, he also stole underwear.
Yeah, he liked the feeling of the clothes and stuff like that. He liked rubbing things together. He liked touching it and all this other stuff, and he had to have it.
Well, so Peter Bronsky explained in Serial Killers, The Method and Madness of Monsters, that these were mysterious and forbidden totems, and they were arousing him in deep erotic feelings that he couldn't understand or even explain.
You almost have to ask, though, if his mother was wanting a daughter, how many times, but she doesn't seem like she was a very nice lady, how many times she may have told him this. You know what I'm saying? But then, when he tried to fulfill that spot,
he internalized it.
Yeah.
So going back real fast, one thing we didn't bring up with Jerry Brudos is that his father was extremely abusive. Extremely abusive.
We haven't gotten there yet.
Yeah, we haven't gotten there, but even from a young age. And the one thing they actually did mention on a lot of the podcast was listening to a lot of the other stuff and reading online. His father was 5'0", but he was just one of those men at the time that would beat the shit out of anybody and anything. He turned around, and this guy, just like Edmund Kemper's mom and his dad, completely afraid of the mom, and the mom was a million times worse than the father. So it literally, to see to see a strong man in your life. I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. To see an abusive man in your life like that be just taken down by a person like it was nothing. It really drove it in his head.
You did kind of have it right, because in the 40s, there was this kind of like abuse and strength were almost like tied together when it came to certain family dynamics.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
because there were certain things you just didn't talk about. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was just
that's
private.
Yeah.
You didn't talk about it.
Well, this is also before another thing we're going to get into too. This is also, he was one of the first serial killer. He was, I mean, there's a few serial killers before him, but he was also, Brudos was a serial killer before they coined the term serial killer.
Yeah.
Because he was taken out and, or he was arrested in like 61.
Mikey said, well, I don't blame the guy for liking the stuff, just the whole criminal stuff.
No, there's exactly, that's the premise of a lot of the stuff. If he was just, if they just let him go and was like, dude, just keep your shoes. Just don't bring it out in public or whatever, or, you know, just the normal level. I guess you would say like the normal level of taboo,
normal level of kink,
the normal level of kink, and be like, you just keep this behind closed doors, but go ahead and have your shoes. I'll buy your shoes or whatever, and not treat it like such a bad taboo. Again, like Mark or like Carl said, there'd be 4 women who was actually able to live their lives. You know?
Yeah.
The problem was kinks were all taboo back then. And so
they were all considered deviant behavior.
Yeah, deviance and just, you know, you were a complete weirdo if you had a kink.
And you had Betty Page.
Which is true, because everybody has some sort of kink. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Everybody does.
Exactly. It's not my fault that I have to wear a Superman outfit. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Okay, Rick and Morty.
Yeah.
This reminds me of Mallrats. The scene they're discussing it, like if he was going to do it in Lois Lane, how would it happen? He would have to wear a kryptonite condom, but that would kill him.
Yeah.
You know, they not to go squirrel out here for a second,
because
but
he just blow a hole in her
in the boys comic. In the boys comics, you know, the series The Boys and all sorts of stuff. They actually explain that some of the superheroes did blow out the womb.
Yeah. Yep.
It's brutal. And by the way, if you ever watch The Boys TV show is tame compared to the comic book.
Extremely. And that show does not seem tame when you watch it.
Yes.
So, in 1956, Jerry Brudos attacked a woman for the first time. He was 17 at this time, and he had actually prepared for this in advance.
This is, I hate to say this. This is where we get into the Porky's.
Yeah, well,
the Porky's era of Jerry Brudos, and
he dug a hole in a hillside where he had planned to keep girls as his sex slaves. Then, while wielding a knife, he abducted a teenage girl, beat her up, forced her to take naked pictures for him.
It wasn't just a couple pictures. He had her for hours and took a lot of pictures.
And then, but the thing is, just like when he was 5, he was caught red-handed.
In
what year was this?
1956. He was in his teens. He was 17.
Okay, so this is before cameras were, you had Polaroid cameras or anything like that. So this was a time-consuming process just to take the pictures.
Exactly.
And this was also a time where I think he was able to get certain things developed, because I want to say when he was arrested, they actually found a ton of Polaroids and stuff like that, dating back to then. I mean,
some of those old Bellows style cameras, the pictures would develop like Polaroids. They would have like a layer on them that you would peel off and you would wave, and after a while the picture would develop. So
I remember those.
We had one growing up, but it's not the kind of thing that was really conducive to taking a lot of pictures quickly.
Bring up Nadine's comment.
I was bringing up that look real fast.
It's gross.
So
Nate, he didn't want to get caught. He was just bold as fuck.
Yeah, he didn't. He didn't have that thing that a lot of us have in our brains, like that, that lizard brain thing where we just want to hide it. He really didn't have that.
No, he very much
just knew what he wanted to do, and he would do it.
Which at the time too, we're going to get into the whole the police aspect of this. This scene we're going to get here for a second. They basically just said, "Well, boys will be boys." They just let it go.
No.
Or am I wrong?
You are wrong.
I am sorry.
So he was actually sent to the psych ward
Oh.
in Oregon State Hospital for evaluation, where the doctors noted that he had a hatred towards his mother, and because of this, other women.
And we get into the Kimber.
So this is
Kimber.
where like it's kind of like Kimber, but I guess Kimber would be kind of like Brudos in reality.
Well,
it's a common origin story though for a lot of serial killers and the women aspect, and even a lot of
it very much is.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's very.
There's an old saying. There's an old saying that in a child's eyes, a mother is God. So can you imagine if your mother was just horribly, horribly cruel? I mean, how that would just at a very early age affect everything moving forward.
I got lucky. I didn't realize mine was bad until later in life.
No.
I think the first time I heard that phrase, I think was actually in The Crow.
I was about to say that. On the lips of children, mother is the word for milk, or what was it line? I bastardized it. I'm sorry.
Mother
but
is the word for God on the lips.
There you go.
Yep. It's the full quote. Yeah.
Do you guys like the fact that what's his face who plays it is going to be the new
Mikey.
Eric Draven?
Bill Skarsgård.
Bill Skarsgård is going to be the new. He's
apparently,
going to.
Apparently, that's misinformation because
what
they said. I mean, so this was going around, right? Like a lot, and there is a connection between that and Pennywise. The original kid that was supposed to play Pennywise before Skarsgård, the original version, is who's supposed to be playing him, and he was also in Maze Runner. That was one of the big things that guy was in. But I guess it's supposed to be him that's going to be playing Eric Draven and not Skarsgård.
Okay.
But it was reported as Skarsgård for some reason for a while, but it's confusing, man.
It would have been awesome if Jason Momoa would have.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm not gonna lie, I was really looking forward to Jason Momoa.
I still want to see the Shades of Insanity Crow they did from the comics with Trent Reznor's Crow. That was supposed to happen in the 90s, cool. And I wanted to see that too.
Rob Zombie had a script. I'm sorry,
Mark. I'm sorry, I'm late. I was taking some Polaroids.
Fun fact: I just looked it up. Polaroid cameras were invented and made commercial for sale in 1948.
Oh, so maybe he did
was taking Polaroids. Maybe he was. Nadine says, "I hope they don't ruin the Crow." It's one of my favorites. Same.
Okay, Crow and the part 2 was cool, and then you have what's his face from Terminator and all this other stuff.
Number 4 sucked balls.
That was 4. Yeah.
The third one was cool. The one where the third one was cool. What's his face? Who was from what was that? Black Circle Boys or whatever, where they did they finally brought black metal into stuff, and it was whatever cult. What's his face? I can't think of his name. He was in Resident Evil Part 2.
Yeah,
and Resident Evil, and then he became Nemesis in Part 2, and like he was cool as a fucking Crow. It was so cool because it was actually
it was more like the comics because it was just supposed to be a normal guy, not a guy that knew martial arts, or it was just a guy.
Yeah. And it was the scars and everything on him. Like it was actually like it wasn't just makeup; it was actually fucking scars. It was pretty cool.
Trent Reznor as Crow. Boing.
All right.
Yeah, I hated the Terminator kid. I hated the one with the Terminator kid. All I watched it for was
Edward Furlong.
Edward Furlong.
2 was the best. 2 was the best out of all.
2 was so cool. I loved it. I saw it in the theaters, and all my goth friends fucking hated it. I was like, "This is rad." It has Iggy Pop in it.
So, by the way, you were partially wrong or partially right.
I remember when you brought it up. It was the psychs, the psychiatrists.
You were partially right.
They were the ones who said it was boys will be
in the
boys.
hospital. His secret obsession came pouring out, and the doctors learned about his collection of women's clothing and shoes and his fantasy of kidnapping girls in freezers so he could rearrange their frozen bodies into sexually explicit positions.
I know.
But for some reason, the doctors were like, that's just normal guy stuff. No big deal. Whatever.
This is the era right now.
Every young boy totally dreams of freezing bodies to death and rearranging them in sexually explicit positions.
And this is why we have such
No
badass
big
1950s sci-fi movies, is because guys wanted to put women's body parts in freezers.
Apparently.
It's
So
further though, like you know, how Disney has this history of like taking really screwed up things and making kids stuff out of it.
I was gonna say penises.
Frozen.
Penis.
This is where Frozen came from, man. Frozen.
So they claimed
Do you
that
want
the
a hotter
boy just needed to
body?
grow up. They claimed that he just needed to grow up and mature a little. And they released him back into the public.
What? So we could get better at it? Like,
yeah, totally.
Apparently, jeez.
We do have to take
Practice
into
makes
consideration,
perfect.
right? But take consideration that like psychiatry has came a long way. It's not where it needs to be now.
Right.
But right now, like if they had what we knew now as back then, it'd be like, hey, look, you can't kill people, but you can cross dress all you want.
The guys that inspired Mindhunter actually did a lot of the gathered a lot of the information that we're talking about right now.
They did. They one of the scenes in Mindhunter was actually, I think it was somewhat accurate, where they brought him a shoe.
Yeah, and they were like,
if that was Brudos in Mindhunter.
That was Brudos.
It was where he was like,
he basically the guards had the back turn, and like they were saying that he didn't. If you've seen Mindhunter, not to spoil anything, it's been years, but whatever.
God, I wish they would bring that series back. It was so good.
Not to scroll off again, but they're just on a hiatus because all the actors. It's on a permanent hiatus because all the actors have so many things going on. But that's why it ended, because they didn't. They had so many other contracts going on or whatever going on, and like they just didn't have time to come back and do it.
It became impossible to schedule.
Yeah, exactly. And it was such a good show. But going back to that, supposedly they're saying it didn't happen, but I think it did happen when they handed him the shoe. He did start jacking off on it in front of them.
yeah, it's possible. I mean, I wouldn't doubt it. Oh boy, you could fit all sorts of things in those old fridges.
Ah, boy.
Wow.
Indiana Jones. Circular saw.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right, Indiana Jones.
Dun, 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 bum, ba, da. I survived an atomic blast. No, you didn't.
So when
doing better and
Brudos
better.
graduated from high school, he joined the army in March of '59, but was discharged by October, possibly due to his alarming obsessions.
It wasn't just
Possibly.
What?
Possibly.
So what happened here is Jerry Brudos started having dreams that he said he actually believed it. He didn't understand why no one in his barracks was seeing the Korean woman, because he was stationed in Korea, the Korean old lady coming in and sexually assaulting him. So he went to the chaplain and said, hey, this is happening on a nightly basis. The chaplain went up the ranks and said, you're gone, buddy. This is in between the Korean War and Vietnam. So they were like, we don't need you. You can go.
By the way,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, squirrel moment. I just thought back to the commercial for Steve Cat, and where it does the patty cake. All I could think of was Siren, by the way. Patty cake, fuck her in the face.
And how much of a pussy the ex-members were. I can't watch that. Really?
That was so great.
We talk about murder and necrophilia all the time, and you can't hear that song.
By the way, since I mentioned it, if you guys ever get the chance, Siren Von Wicked. She's fucking awesome. She's also selling a calendar right now with some pretty racy,
spicy
content.
And I love it. I will be buying one. I just haven't had the chance to, but I'm looking forward to it. So again, possibly due to his alarming obsessions, he was discharged in October, and he decided to live back home for a little while, and he met and married a 17-year-old named Darcy Metzler.
Hey, Star.
Hey, Star. How are you? I know there's some stuff going on in the family. I'm really sorry to hear about it. I really am.
I'm sorry, Star.
Oh, I brought it back up. Sorry. So, the new couple moved to Oregon, where they had 2 children. From the outside, Brudos seemed relatively normal. Friends and neighbors recalled that he neither drank nor smoked, and rarely, if ever, used any profanity. But his sexual fantasies permeated his marriage. He demanded that his wife would pose nude for him. He also asked her to clean the house naked while wearing high heels. Okay, I'm sorry, that's not that bad of a demand.
Exactly.
He was a straight edge serial killer.
He was. He didn't exactly. So Brudos got a job as a radio engineer, basically, wiring everything like that. And then that's how he met his wife. When they first got together, that he had this. Everyone, they're trying to say it's a weird thing of being naked in the house all the time. Well, they're both consensual. It's not really weird,
If we were on our own.
But she was into it. He was into it. He was into taking pictures of her. She let it happen. She liked it. It was consensual. The only weird thing
that's hot though, right?
Yeah. He got one. He basically hit the ground running with his wife. He literally got someone who was cool.
she actually complied for years. She had no problem with it.
The only reason why she stopped was because their daughter, their first kid. I can't remember if it was a son or a daughter. I think it was a daughter. Started getting to the age. She was a toddler and she was able to remember things.
Well, it was because both of their children. She wanted to focus more on both of their children.
Yeah.
So she would start refusing some of the more unusual things because
one
of them getting older, and he would feel rejected because of it.
One of his things that he did with her, he liked to take pictures of with a pantyhose over her face, so her face looked just distorted, like a dead body, basically. So
I know photographers that do that to people now to get certain looks and things like that. It's
exactly.
How much of that is normal? You can go on Craigslist right now and find nude cleaning services. I promise you.
Exactly.
I thought about doing that, but I suck at cleaning.
One of the things. One of the things you can actually do.
I thought about doing it, but I suck at cleaning.
One of the cool things you can actually do with black and white film is using chocolate syrup. It looks just like blood in black and white film.
Completely.
Mark says, I'm pretty sure a few guys I was in the army with ended up on the evening news at some point. I'll tell you guys about the blow up doll in the rucksack one day.
You have to, Mark.
Yes, please do.
But yeah, this is where we get at. This was the weird quirks that he had. They're trying to say is weird, but it's not too bad.
Not really.
Wait,
not by today's standards, though.
No.
Do you also have a blow up doll in a rucksack?
I mean, hell, last night we were talking.
Necrophilia has come a long way, baby.
Necrophilia is actually not somewhat accepted just yet. No,
never got along with girls at my school.
They're not saying no. It doesn't mean they said yes, but they didn't say no. No, I'm just kidding. That's so fucked up.
Thanks to all the advancements in corpse technology. Now we have sex dolls, which is basically the same thing.
Okay.
I thought I was walking around his house naked and everything like that.
No. I said I suck at cleaning, but I would totally do the nude cleaning services, but I suck at cleaning.
Mm-hmm.
So
I don't think anyone actually cares though how well you clean. I think that's kind of besides. If you're paying for that,
service, that's what I worry about. Is I would just want to clean only and just be whatever. I don't care that the tatas are out.
It's just that I don't get the nooks and crannies. I can't do that. I'll flop it out while I'm cleaning, but hey, buddy, sorry, you got to pay me extra for the nooks and crannies.
Okay,
so far,
Brudos was feeling rejected, and because of this, he started to prowl the neighbors' houses for women's shoes and underwear, looking for an outlet for his obsession. And in '67, he found it. He had been walking downtown when he noticed a woman, specifically her shoes. He followed her home and waited for her to go to bed. Then broke into her house, strangled her into unconsciousness, and raped her. When he was done, he took her shoes and left. This encounter proved irresistible.
He's actually okay. So this is one thing they did lapse over here. Brudos has actually raped several women by this time, and where I say Porky's. If you take away the happy music of Porky's, it's fucking rape and it's messed up. Mm-hmm. This is what it is right here. He did panty raise. He did all that stuff. He did a lot of messed up shit that you can juxtaposed with Porky's and stuff like that. But he didn't escalate to murder until it was just chance. It just happened, and he just took it and did it.
Probably suffocated someone to the point where they died. I'm assuming.
No, it's
not yet.
But the lady made the wrong choice. She got the wrong directions. No joke. We'll get to it here in a second.
Well, so he later testified that the fact that her body was limp from being knocked unconscious, basically.
This is where you found real key.
Was what aroused him. So the next time, he didn't have to go looking for the victim. Somebody actually came to him.
So one thing we actually need to mention with necrophilia, it's 100% about control. The one thing Jeffrey Dahmer, where
Ted Bundy,
all of them, they wanted 100% control. Jeffrey Dahmer hated it when someone was awake while he was fooling around with the men. And stuff like that.
Kemper with the Iramatio.
Well, no, Kemper was slightly different. He
was different, but it was still necrophilia.
He was very much into it, and he was very much into just whatever body part he got.
He never had sex ever with a live woman.
No, he did.
No,
Kemper actually had a girlfriend. They did have normal sex. He was just not good at it because it was just awkward for him.
You would think being such a never mind. I'm not gonna get to that.
Giant dicks are not. Sometimes they just don't do it. Sometimes I'm sorry. I hate to say it like
Linus Lawson was a 19-year-old encyclopedia saleswoman who came to Brudos' home on business, and he saw his chance. Pretended to be interested in buying the encyclopedia to lure inside, and his family was actually upstairs during this. He hit her in the head and then strangled her to death. And after killing her, slashed her body in the garage. He then cut off one of her feet and stored it in the freezer. And in, a sickening echo of his adolescent fantasies, he used the severed foot as a model for his collection of stolen shoes. And shortly thereafter, he tied her body to a car engine and dumped it in the Willamette River.
So what happened here was she was selling encyclopedias, as they did back in the day, which I do miss those days, actually having books, But
and then there was to drop the house and someone just get her shoes.
She was supposed to go to a neighbor's house. Right. She was supposed to go to a neighbor's house. But it was pouring down rain and she couldn't see the numbers. And Jerry Brudos, for some odd reason, was doing something in his yard while it was pouring down rain. She walked up and started talking to him, and him being one of the a sociopath on the level of Edmund Kemper, literally just right into his new personality, started acting like he knew exactly what she was talking about. He started talking to her and said, "Yeah, come on in. No, it's fine. Let's go down to my basement. Let's go talk for a second about the encyclopedias." That's where it happened. It's a mess. It's fucked up. It's really fucked up.
So they don't really have an IQ level for him.
He was above average.
But he was pretty above average.
He was above average. He was smart. Jerry Brudos, though, was one of those kids who just didn't look right when as a kid like that. So fungus on his nails, all sorts of, no joke. He actually had to have a few surgeries on his nails and fingers and feet and stuff like that to get rid of the fungus. Had varicose veins real bad as a kid, and had poor hygiene and stuff.
Well, so this kill was actually what started his 18-month spree.
He again, he hit the ground running. He went right into berserk mode. For a serial killer to have kills in roughly a year, that's epic.
Yeah.
I want to show you this picture, guys.
But
if it'll let me.
The shoe obsession that he had did correlate over to this foot. Like a couple kills that he would have after this, because he had 4, and he didn't. Again, he only raped women prior to this, and I'm not saying only. It's messed up,
but only as in comparison to murder.
But when he would also go out and steal shoes and stuff like that and model it on his foot, like it was nothing.
Why the hell not?
He even got to a point. I don't know if they're going to mention it in the notes here and stuff like that, but he cut the breast off several women and acted like it was a paperweight in his in his garage and stuff like that. Like, would just put it on his mental in his garage. And the one thing we need to keep in mind with his garage and stuff like that is that his family and stuff like that were not allowed to go in there. He had a padlock and everything on there.
So I want to show you guys a picture. This is him and his wife, but this is actually him and his wife the day that he pled not guilty to his crimes.
Yeah. Brudos was...
So
his wife wasn't a bad-looking girl. She was pretty.
She was obviously afraid.
She was somewhat homely. She was never beaten. She was never physically abused by him.
She was obviously afraid there, though, in that picture.
I
bet
think
she
it's
didn't
more...
question him a lot, though.
No,
I mean,
this
goes back to like BTK and stuff like that. When you
Right
live
there.
with somebody, I don't care how good they are at hiding stuff. You're
Yeah.
gonna know something's up if you're having to like call them on an intercom to be able to access them in their private area.
Yeah.
She was when they arrested him. She was pulled. I think they did her trial first.
Yeah,
she was found not guilty.
I'm
okay.
sorry, I am incorrect on when this picture was. It wasn't him who pled not guilty in this.
It's her.
This was her trial.
But
this was her pleading not guilty in connection with the murders that her husband had committed.
It's like you said on Mama that she should have. She knew something was up.
On
Why
some
am I not allowed to?
level, you'd have
Yeah.
to.
I'll say this about BTK's wife. I'm sorry. She 100% knew what was going on and was like, it's not my business. And then decided to change her name after the fact. I was like, dude, just own it now. You got away with it. Own it. That your husband was into this stuff and you knew exactly what was going on.
I still.
Or you knew there was something not right going on, like dangerously not right.
I just feel sorry for BTK's kids because all those, normal pictures of them having a great time camping and stuff like that and never knowing. And then his daughter and stuff like basically having to find out. And was it 2003? that the dad was like murdering, raping women like throughout, like from the 70s on until then, I think. Yeah.
Right.
So, this is the one that she actually went to court over. This is the next one we're going to talk about. While dressed in women's clothing, and this is why she had a connection to it because it was her clothing. Jerry Brudos kidnapped his next victim, Karen Sprinkler, at gunpoint from the parking lot of a department store. In his garage, he forced her to put on several different types of women's underwear while he photographed her. He then raped her and hanged her by the neck from a pulley in the garage, strangling her to death. Horrifically, he had sex with her dead body several times before cutting her breasts off and making plastic molds out of them. He then threw her body in the river and tied it to a car engine, weighed it down.
Now, this is one of those weird ones, too, where his garage actually got hit by a car. And the cops, he wasn't there at the time. The cops actually knew this happened. And if they would just went a foot in, they would have caught him.
Yeah.
And they didn't. They were like, oh, Mr. Brudos, this happened. And he was so nonchalant about it. Like, oh, okay, no problem. I'll take care of it. Cool.
Yeah.
It's insane, like, how these guys operate. Like, how they're just so... They're just... When shit hits the fan, these guys are cool as cucumbers. That's the only way I can describe it. They literally just like, whatever.
They have no issues.
Yeah.
They're sociopaths.
Yeah.
An interesting thing to think about is how, like, so he's a serial killer that not many people have heard about. It took me a minute to realize who we were talking about when we first talked about doing it. And Buffalo Bill, I just want to say the actor that played Buffalo Bill actually cites in many interviews, and this is initially how I remembered who this was, that he read his entire biography and studied the guy when he was making his choices, his acting choices in a lot of it. And then back in 2020, I'm going to mention a name that's very controversial. Sorry. J.K. Rowling. I love Harry Potter, but I'm not cool with that whole thing that she did or whatever. But the book that she wrote that she got in trouble for, one of the main people behind the reason she wrote that book was also Brudos. Like, she also has stated in numerous interviews back in 2020 that 50% of the entire book was based on him as a human being in his life.
I don't think of right now.
Thing that I knew about.
The only thing I really hate about J.K. Rowling is that she assumes everybody knows what everybody who's like watching her stuff, reading their stuff, knows what every little spell or whatever is, and it comes out in Hermione every single time. Oh, you didn't know about the hocus pocus Carethium? That's not my fault. That's your fault.
And I know way too much about that stuff than I'm gonna admit currently. But yeah, it was interesting to me that tie existed though between Brudos and her, and how you got Levine that did the acting for Buffalo Bill, and then now you've got in 2020, decades later, this very famous children's author who's decided to write this serial killer book and also include this super unknown serial killer. So there's decades of pop culture related to him without us even really realizing it.
The one thing I actually was reading about or like hearing about him, Jerry Brudos was the thing is you had what overshadowed him was Manson.
Yeah.
If Manson had happened a few months later, Jerry Brudos would have been all over the news. Over
that
everywhere.
happened with another one too. You guys did, wasn't it? Like it was where they got overshadowed by something else that happened.
I'm not.
There's several.
I can't remember right now which
I
one.
want to say it was the one up in New York City, the one that kept dumping the bodies that were in suitcases or something.
Was it Henry Lee Lucas? No.
No, ABC.
No. This was in the 90s. The Craigslist killer, wasn't it?
Oh yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Hey, Dizzy.
Hi, Dizzy.
There's a couple because there was another serial killer that was active when Son of Sam was active too that completely got shunted underneath all.
Like looking at how the media works, like it comes down to kill count and like what you're doing those kills. If you had, again, and I hate to say this, I mean Kemper. If you have a favorite serial killer, Kemper's mine because the guy is absolutely fascinating, like to read about, look into. But if you're doing messed up things and then you have a high kill count, at least 6 or more, the media will like take that and run with it. But if you could have 20 kills in 1 year, and the media will be like, if it's basically just shot in the head, they're like, it's not my business. They literally just like bury it, and it takes a minute to find it.
Not to get off on a tangent, but it's kind of still in the same wheelhouse, But I listened to that podcast, Small Town Murder, and like you wouldn't believe how many, like, if we were in the 70s, how many more serial killers there would be because they catch them so soon now, and some of these are awful. I mean, much worse than a lot of them that we cover here. The one I did that time on the Bone Break Killer. He liked to hear bones snap while the people were alive. But now, thank God, they caught him before he could really do a whole lot of damage.
Do you remember our
Hold on.
Sorry.
Hold on. Did you hear they found a foot in a geyser at Yosemite? They've been finding severed feet for years.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
Well, people fall into them things and dissolve before anybody can get out there. It's happened a couple times.
The sulfur and all that stuff, it'll tear your body up. It's very exfoliating, though, if you can go there. It is. We have a hot springs up here, and it's actually when I get out of there, I've gone there several times, and I'm smooth as a baby's bottom.
Disney said I have a serial killer I like, but it's family, so I don't think it counts. But Ted Bundy was living in Utah for a bit.
He did. Yeah. But do you remember the episode we did? I think Odd Mama, I think you were there with us. When we did the what if we were serial killers? I know.
Oh, yes, that we had to be so careful.
Oh, you should do that.
Yeah, because I was being serious. I was like, if I was a serial killer, and I'm like,
I decided to go very tame on that.
I was like, I would stalk the less dead on the freeway system, and if that is actually honestly right now, that's one of those things. If you're doing that, you're not going to be found, and that's where the 30 or 40 or more serial killers. If they exist, if they're active right now, that's what they're doing. It's on the freeway system. Yeah. Because bodies are dropped off and you can't find them, and then they're back on to wherever they're going.
George Norrie did a show on that. He keeps showing up on the West Coast.
Well, the Canadian coast
in
too.
That lake up in Calgary or somewhere.
Yes.
Yep. Yeah. Well, we have Hart Park, the Kern River.
Do you remember
keep ending up in the river there?
Remember the German icicle killer? It was back in 2000. Oh God, mid 2010.
That's like
they were finding. That's why the guy did it. They were finding bodies and like snow, like buried in snowdrifts, like hidden. And then when the thaw happened, they started finding bodies like everywhere. And
I didn't hear about this one.
Yeah, it's been a while, but the only thing they could figure out that the murder weapon had to have been was an icicle because of the way.
Genius weapon.
Yeah, but at first they couldn't
Very Hitchcock.
because the way the wounds were, if you're buried in a snowdrift, you're going to get certain things like in your body from that.
Yeah.
But they were able to find like certain chemicals from like a nearby water treatment plant and lodged so far inside that it had to have been stabbed or inserted into.
Oh, bro, fucked up. He should have just made icicles out of his. Well, actually, no. I'm sorry. He probably didn't make icicles out of his tap water.
Well, they say that they found out he fashioned them himself. Like he was like basically taking a mold and putting it outside and letting it freeze. And he had like leather straps like around the handle part of it, like so he could hold on to it. And after all the bodies came out within a week of everybody trying to figure it out, this guy just walks in. I remember it was either a police station or a news station. I can't remember which one now. And just admits to the whole thing and gives all the details and said, "Yeah, that was me."
Well, with Europe, they have a major problem with serial killers because how even though they're the EU, countries don't talk to each other. They're even worse than us. And what's his face? The guy who was into hair, I can't think of his name. He's a truck driver. It took them years. Even Interpol could not find this guy. I think he fucked up on cam in a parking lot. I can't think of the guy's name, but he was into his fetish was like actually women's hair and stuff like that. And so he would pick up sex workers based on their hair or even wigs and stuff like that. And it took them years to find this guy because, like I said, our municipalities don't speak to each other, but theirs really don't. And but
we do have a major U.S. database, though, that eventually things find their way in.
Yeah,
there's
even though they're the EU, their database literally even that they don't want to admit that there's serial killers active in Europe, and that's why it's so much easier for them to get away with stuff there opposed to here, and even like Canada and stuff like that. It's insane,
right?
There's also like if you think about it like that, like the Jack the Ripper case, obviously, which is one of my most fascinating cases because there's proof that he existed and went on to do the same thing in France, and then not many years later, the same murders, the same MO showed up in America not long after that.
They did
really weird stuff about that.
They did end up finding out that, or they did DNA and they did link it to an actual butcher.
Yeah. They did some interesting stuff, but Patricia Cornwell, I think, was the most detailed that really went in, and she was the first person to get a lot of stuff from like Scotland Yard and Interpol to actually let her physically touch a lot of his stuff. And then at that time that's when she thought it was Walter Sickert, the famous artist. So of course, a lot of his art happens to be here in Ohio, so those museums went nuts when they came out, and it was insane in Ohio because of all his paintings in like Cleveland and Cincinnati and Columbus, and it's like, oh, come see this killer's artwork, and you're like.
We've seen Kevorkian's.
Oh, dude, Kevorkian's artwork is
We've actually seen awesome. Kevorkian's artwork in real life.
Nice.
Wow.
I think we just squirreled out so much right now, guys.
You squirreled out enough for me to want to throw something.
I'm sorry.
I have a wraparound to this. My wraparound is that like it's so interesting how you can be like you can have a brush with a serial killer on any given day.
Definitely.
When my wife was born, she was born in San Antonio, in Texas, and she was actually held by Janine Jones, the Angel of Death, while the children murders were going on. And obviously, she survived because we're married now. She
we're married and we have a daughter.
I mean, I see that.
Thank you for clarifying that.
Yeah. I just want people to know that it's a serial killer situation. She is a living body. Just but and that was like such a random thing. And so when they retried her again in 2020, and she just confessed to like another murder recently, just a couple years ago, like that brought up a lot of stuff for her because that was like that's something they knew was going on, but they had no idea who it was. They didn't even know. I mean, they knew it might not even been the hospital because she worked at different places, and it was such a an interesting thing back in 2020 for her to like almost relive the thought of like what could have happened to her and how that's kind of affected her whole life in a lot of
it is.
Yeah.
And
I can understand that.
Yeah, and then you've got this lady you're talking about who just shows up to his house, because of the wrong directions, completely circumstantial, and that circumstance with this guy who's been obviously treated terribly during his entire upbringing, told how terrible he is, and suddenly now there's wow, that was the whole lamp. There is there is a crime. Basically, it's a crime of opportunity, is what it is, and it was a perfect storm.
Well, it's the logic of or the weird logic of synchronicity and something that actually just how things just line up.
Yeah.
You know, and then all
Final
of a sudden
destination.
yes, do not get on the freeway behind a logging truck.
And I think about that time every time I see a log truck. I'm like, I'm passing this thing. I'm getting past
I always
it.
think about like Final Destination when a train flies by at the end, or toward the end when the train hit the piece of metal or the whatever and it flew off and cut the guy's head off. That's what I think about. The logging truck, I'm like, whatever, I don't give a
For
damn
me, I like
that.
roller coasters a lot, and every time I'm on a roller coaster now, I think, oh, I'm gonna die on this roller coaster, and the whole situation goes in my brain. And I'm like, yeah,
I'm
ride it.
6'1", and whenever I get, especially when the last time we got on Goliath at Magic Mountain, I Liz can attest to this. I literally kept ducking, even with the G-force coming on me. I'm like, ugh, and I messed my neck up because it felt like I was going to hit the beams coming by.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna call that there's gonna be a part 2.
We can do this Sunday if you guys are ready.
We have a shit ton more to go through.
Oh, wow.
And it is
okay.
probably not going to happen. But
or this would be a 4-hour tour. A 4-hour tour.
Pretty much. Because there's about equal amount that we've gone through versus what we still have to go through.
The crazy thing is right before we started, I was like, I looked on my phone. We don't have enough.
I think it's good though, like to have those real moments and to kind of get sidetracked and bring a little.
It's completely fine.
I'm not worried about it.
Yeah,
well,
I listen to a lot of serious shows. You know, there's a lot of serious shows, like last podcast on the left. And there's a lot of really serious shows out there that present this in such a way. So we can't present it in the same way that other people are presenting it. So
exactly. Last podcast on the left, when you look at them, like 90% of the stuff is Henry Zabowski being funny.
Right.
And Ben Kissel being funny, and then Marcus Parks being funny and going along with it, and it's just it works. Everything meshes together and just works.
Well, people get upset because they feel like, oh, you're not taking it seriously. You're making jokes and you're laughing.
No, we are making fun of the serial killer, and we're taking the victims seriously. Is what's going on here. These guys deserved. These guys deserve to be made fun of. Their victims deserve to have their names remembered. That's how I see it. You know, that's how we see it.
That's why we always mention the victims' names.
Exactly. And as a writer, it's my job to like scare the shit out of people, you know, writing horror and speculative fiction. But I also know that without comedy, it's a nonstop adrenaline, and no one wants to read that. Like just like
when you have the monotone.
Yeah, like no one wants to just hear
when you're just monotone and the killer pulled the knife out and stabbed them.
Yeah,
look, that worked back in the 50s, but it doesn't work in 2022.
Yeah. You need that moment to breathe, the false sense of security. So like when we're doing a show like this, like we need people to be able to breathe and stop and like let it sit in. Yes, this is completely ridiculous that this happened, and some of the stuff we've heard in this story is pretty ridiculous by today's standards. But also, like you said before, by today's standards, someone like him, there's a good chance he would have never become a serial killer had he been born today.
There is a good chance he would have had a fucked up mom or something like that, but he more than likely would. Some
of us do, and when he went serial killers.
Exactly.
Yeah, a lot of us do.
Well, 90% even back then, people had fucked up moms or dads, and they didn't become serial killers. If for some odd reason it clicked in his head, I just want these bodies for myself. I want to. I'll say this: if he had a sex doll, if they had real dolls back then, even blow up dolls, I think
he was rich enough to get one.
Well, he was rich enough to buy a Polaroid camera or a camera back in the 50s.
By standards then,
yeah.
But there's actually a psychological study done where they've taken people that had the urges for like necrophilian things, and they've switched it out with sex dolls. And there's actual psychological treatments in our country. And I think Sweden was who first came up with it. I could be wrong. It's Sweden or Norway or one of those, where they're doing that, and it's working out really well. Like they're getting a lot of positive like feedback. A lot of the urges are being curbed, and people are in that situation are actually like doing these little interviews and saying that they actually their whole urge is like accounted for with this, and it's.
I hope their dolls don't wear out.
Well, I mean, they will, but that's why they sell individual parts. Like you can just let's call it plug and play.
Gotta replace the vagina.
Please have some free replacements here because this guy's gonna go right back to the cemetery and do his thing.
Basically.
They're gonna game the shit out of this
I
stuff.
was about to say that.
those Amazon future shipping plans where every month they're gonna send me.
Dear God, how much are you fucking this doll if it takes a month for you to wear out the vagina?
I mean, Amazon thinks you need like a.
Let me out of here,
Mr. Keen.
But in my head, I'm translating that to Mr. Clean because it's
Mr.
I got the
Keen,
commercial
Mr.
in my head.
Keen.
Yes, and now I'm gonna write a commercial for that.
Right?
Of course, I was referencing Slayer, but you know. Let me out of here! Which I always thought was weird because it was almost a childlike voice.
Well,
But he never went after kids.
It's the souls of the women who want to be released.
Yeah, but
That was part of the ritual of game. I'm sorry. Let's
okay,
let's not squirrel out here.
So guys, really appreciate you guys all being on here. If you guys are available on
Next Friday,
do you want to do this?
if you're down,
If I'm available.
Or this
If
Sunday?
I'm available.
this Sunday or whenever you guys are available, we could also change the times. Do it later at
I
night.
think I'm good Friday. Sundays are definitely good days. I don't go to the haunt, but
Okay.
as long as we're doing it before like end of September or end of August, I'm good.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it'll be like
season,
this
oh my
coming
God.
week.
It's coming in a week.
Either this Sunday or next Friday.
I'll tell you what, Odd Mama, tell us your schedule and we'll
figure it
work
out.
around you.
Yeah.
I'm off Sunday, but I have to travel
Sunday?
to another cemetery to see my oldest daughter. So
Okay.
I don't know what time I'll be back. But if it's late, like 10, then there's
10
a
your
really good
time?
possibility.
10 your time.
Yeah.
Oh, we can do that.
Oh yeah, that's fine.
We can totally
So
do
this
that.
this Sunday.
So Sunday, guys, 2 days.
This
We'll
Sunday.
finish
In
this.
2 days we'll continue this on.
We may
I can do that.
actually add in, depending on how much we squirrel.
I think we just keep
add
scrolling
in
out
a
here.
little bit about either like Richard Speck or
Richard Speck is in a whole another episode if you want to get into that.
Yeah,
Richard
that's
Speck's a whole
but
other
even
thing.
like the truck stop killer, we could start a little bit about him. Robert Rhodes. But Richard Speck will be a really fun one.
There's another thing, guys,
But,
and I was actually going to put it in the PBDC advisor chat.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to watch Akal read Russian names again?
Would you stop?
I freaking love it because I forgot
Because I can
about
speak Chinese.
I forgot
and I
about
can
the
speak-
chessboard killer
but I
who was
can't read
trying
Russian.
he was trying to one up Chikatilo.
I can write in Polish.
Oh, crap.
I can speak Chinese.
By the way,
But I can't
Raz
read
and
Russian.
Okay,
and,
I've got a
Steve- you get
solution for you. I've got a solution for you. You've got the soundboard now. Google has a translation to where you can actually play
Ooh.
it, so you should be able to put it on your speaker.
So
Then I need
to you two in
about
here and everyone else who's
20
watching,
more,
one of our first episodes was the Rostov Ripper, and it was
Andre
hard
Chikatilo.
as fuck reading those names, and it took us 4 episodes to do it. And it was amazing to watch because both of us were like, Russian Lake 3. He kills backwards R by backwards B.
Okay, so stuff like Lena Zenkanova wasn't too bad. Larissa
Torchenko.
Chenko. And then there was Lubyev, Biryuk.
It got to the point to where I was
And
saying,
Lubyev,
in Mother
Vodo
Russia, car
Bayeva.
drives you.
Throwing
Oleg
like there.
Polsdahiv.
Yeah,
This
I
one,
would pull up that
Irina-
Google pronunciation machine and you just type it in there and it'll say it for you.
Irina Karabelnikova wasn't
Oh,
too
yeah.
bad. But then we got into like Olga Stevchnikov.
And by the way, the
Well,
Rostov
and you
Ripper,
got into some locations and stuff too, or something, I remember.
Yeah.
And it was just crazy.
For the record, they were all written in Russian.
yes,
So
and the Rostov
I was
Ripper
having
had
issues.
a lot of victims, a lot,
Mhm.
like a whole lot, and he if you really want to go watch something on there, Malcolm McDowell actually plays the Rostov Ripper, but it's based in Italy, but it's a fucked up film. It's a really fucked up film. But Malcolm
What's the
McDowell,
name of it?
I don't remember the name of it right now. Just Google, if you Google Malcolm McDowell, it's on there on his Wikipedia and stuff like that. It's super, super good. I did watch a few scenes from it, and there's some disturbing parts of it where he's talking to a child about his stuff.
So
and it's a super good movie.
I will announce that I have to pee, and that's why I want to go.
I'm sorry. It's like, don't talk about Malcolm McDowell's penis. We gotta go.
really have to go to the
We've
bathroom.
already seen Malcolm McDowell's penis in fucking in Clockwork Orange, where he actually had a real threesome.
Yes, thank you.
Derpy!
Derpy!
Get a cat!
Derpy has his own bath bomb, by the way, guys.
Yeah.
You know,
it smells like
buy my bath bomb.
Stephen P. Kitty Cat just willed that into existence. You will interrupt the feed right now.
He's wanting to show everybody his exclamation point.
Our cat takes pictures with his butthole.
Okay, I really gotta go to the bathroom.
I'm sorry. All right, guys. We'll be back Sunday night in 2 days.
All right, bye.
Have a wonderful night. Bye.
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 I don't set the world in my